Greetings, class. I'm here to help you today with working on academic citations. Now, you should know that Mrs. Kreider has already uploaded a longer video that walks you step by step through how to put citations into your paper and how to work through that whole process. What I want to do in this video is just something real brief to cover the citation style that we use and to answer some questions that might arise as you're thinking about doing citations for your research paper. So let's have a look at it. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get to it. We're going to look at a couple resources that will help us making our citations and bibliography for our research paper. Now, as I mentioned, Mrs. Kreider's got the longer video about how to put those in, but this is just me dealing with the form. The most comprehensive resource is going to be the Turabian 8th edition, but if you haven't purchased that, you can use a couple of these shortcuts to help you out. So if you go online and search for something like Turabian Quick Guide, it's going to bring you to a website that will look like the 8th edition of the book. And what it does here is it gives you a summary of the two different citation styles. So now be aware there are two styles. There's notes and bibliography. In other words, footnotes and bibliography versus the author date style. This is not what we want. We want to use footnotes and bibliography style. Now what you'll see here on this site is a breakdown of the different kinds of books like are covered in the 8th edition. But what it does is here it strips out all the explanations and just gives you the examples. So some of you may be helped by this. Some of you may need to go and get the book and read the explanations. But basically here, the way it's laid out is that the first item under each category will be the first time that you cite something in a footnote, and then any footnote after that is going to be in the form of this second citation here. We call it the short footnote. And then the last entry is the bibliographic form. Now, this will be a helpful resource for you. It's a very generic resource. And sometimes the examples may not give you exactly what you're looking for. So if you want something more specific, you can go to a new tab or a window and search for SBTS Writing Center. We have a writing center at the college and seminary here that helps people out. Your first hit should probably be our website. We're happy to look at papers for people to help give suggestions. You can find submission form for that here on the website. But what we're looking at specifically is scrolling down to the bottom where there's these resources listed. Again, you can find the templates and the style manual there if you didn't get them from another place. But it is good to look at this right here, the SBTS Turabian Quick Guide. Now it's going to be in the same format as the website, but it's going to give resources that look a lot more like what you'll be using for papers you may write for biblical or theological courses here at the college and seminary. Now, on the left here, you can see a sort of table of contents, so you can skip ahead if you know exactly what you're looking for. Otherwise, you can just browse like we're going to do right here. Again, you see 1, 2, and 3 under each category. This is a book written by a single author, and this is the first footnote style. And this is how we would do it any time after that in a footnote. And then when we put it in the bibliography, it's going to look like this. Now, a little tip that you should know that I had to learn myself is that the footnotes really read like sentences. And it'll tell you about this in Turabian if you get the book and want to read it. But notice that the only period really comes here at the end. Everything else is separated out by commas. And you can even see it more clearly in the shortened style. We got the last name, comma, title of the book, comma, page number, period. Okay, so it's more like a sentence. But in the bibliography, we have things with period, period, period. Okay, so things are more broken up in the bibliographic form. Hopefully that observation is helpful to you. Also notice that we go alphabetically by last name in your bibliography. Whereas in the footnotes, we're just citing their names, R. Albert Mohler Jr. Okay, so first name, last name, and then comma, the title of the book. And then we put the bibliographic information in the publication information in parentheses, comma, and then the page number. Now, when you go to the shortened form, you're just using the last name, stripping out the rest of the name. You're shortening the title to something that's identifiable with the book so that it's clear as to which resource you're referring to. We take all that parenthetical information out and strip it down just to the page number. So that's the basic form. What you will find in the rest of the document then are different variations of that. Books with multiple authors, ones that have no authors, ones that only give you an editor or a translator, ones that have authors in addition to editors and translators. These ones are particularly complex, and you notice some of the examples are very simple, like this, and some of them are much more complex and use other languages and that sort of thing. So you'll want to look through here to see if, even if you don't find exactly what you're looking for, another example may be more helpful to you. Single chapters, prefaces, especially this section on electronic books, we're trying to expand this because there are so many different formats that they come in. We want to help people find ones that have page numbers, one that use locations like in Kindle and that sort of thing. Electronic books online. If you're doing research through our library, you may be finding books online and you may need to look at that. Books that are in Bible software or that sort of thing. So again, hopefully these things are more specific to what you'll be doing in your research papers, especially a whole section here on commentaries, which can be very confusing. As you scroll down, you'll also notice towards the bottom, we have this section on academic papers. Now these are papers that are presented at a conference or meeting, but notice this is also the format to use for a sermon or something like a lecture. If you can give a location and a date for this lecture or that sort of thing, this may be the form that you would want to use for that. Websites and that sort of thing. So hopefully this is a helpful resource to you. Again, this with the quick guide, and then especially if you do have a physical copy of the book, those are going to be your best options for knowing how to cite your paper and do the correct format for your bibliography. Again, if you have questions, please let any of the instructors know and be happy to assist you with this part of your research paper.